I've been thinking about fasting. It's Lent, my first Orthodox Lent, and I have been endeavoring to do God's will with regard to fasting and working with the church guidance and working with my own weaknesses and my strengths and my will, and praying, fasting through fasting and prayer. That seems to be one of the most important parts of the whole practice, is to become aware of our dependence on God, to become aware of my dependence on God rather than on myself. And when I'm in a hungry state and maybe feeling a little weak from hunger, it makes me realize more clearly that I rely on God more than on myself. So I find, though, it's hard. They say it's very hard, can be hard to step right into the generic fasting rules that the church has established. And I actually think they may not be a good fit for me, that for me to achieve what God intends, I should work with where I am. This is my personal experience, and not to give advice to others. Right now I am 45 hours fasted, and the way I am, and it's been good for me. This has been my way to get into that state of feeling the need for God, being reminded of the importance of my connection with God by my hunger and by resisting the urge to eat. So now I'm coming to the end of Lent, and the method I have adopted at this my first Lent is to do longer fasts without food, and then to allow myself to feast on inexpensive food. So I'm not adhering strictly to their limits of what kinds of foods. I'm working with the more general principle of avoiding the luxury foods and instead eating the inexpensive but nutritious and good for me foods that I can find in that budget price range. So I'm cooking a meal now. It'll be ready in an hour and a half, but I won't eat it yet because I have church services this morning from roughly 9 till, who knows, 11:30. So I'll eat it after that, but I wanted to cook now so that it'll be ready when I get out of church. And this has been my plan now, my Lenten routine that I've now settled into. Whatever, we're 6 weeks in and I've experimented a lot, but I think it's really working for me to go with no food on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then try and do just one meal on Tuesday and Thursday, and allow myself to have the soup and bread with them if they have it on Wednesday night after pre-sanctified liturgy. So that's kind of it's cheating a little bit with my personal strategy. And I don't know what else to say about it, but this is working well for me. And then forcing myself to do strength training, to challenge my muscles, to tell my body through strength training that, hey, you need to keep these muscles. Do not waste your muscle mass, dude. So I'm I'm hoping that I'm retaining my muscle mass even as I shed body fat and build my prayer life and build my strength of will to not yield to the temptation to eat. And a little background on how I came to my modifications. I tried the straight rules and really crashed and burned. And then my priest advised me to read Father Schmeemann's on Lent, and it had a wonderful chapter, and I've made some videos of reading his beautiful guidance. And then I've also read this great ascetic that was recommended to me out of Finland, whose name I'm not recalling, but I'll put a picture of his book here, his small book, and it encourages the focusing on eating the inexpensive food and just a little of it. And the reason I do these long fasts is that's the easier way for me with the way my temperament is to eat a little. Is I have very much trouble eating a little right now as a baby in this, so I eat infrequently, and that works out to a little, even if on those infrequent meals I tend to yield to my desire to eat more. I eat more, but only once in 40 hours or whatever, so it doesn't add up to eating a lot.